Well, hello and welcome to Sharing the Silver Screen. And today it's on my side. It's my choice of film to put our good friend Mr. Spider Dan through a film that he hasn't seen, that I have seen, and I think is really egregious that he hasn't seen. And I think this is a film. When I saw it on your list, I was very surprised that you hadn't seen this film. So yes, our Sharing the Silver Screen is back. We had a bit of a short hiatus due to scheduling conflicts and all that kind of stuff. You know, the big Hollywood films have.
Mostly me.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? So we're here for our fourth endeavor. Dan, for the masses,
Yes.
let's explain what the hell it is we're doing here, because there seems to be some really rough confusion going on, and it's not that hard.
No, it's not. It's not that hard. But some listeners have on your end or on my end are going. You know, where's that one you said you're going to do Gladiator? Where's that? You're going to do Frankenhooker? Where's that? Guys, the idea is that Andy has a YouTube channel. I have a podcast. So when we host personally, so when I'm hosting, it's my choice. That's going to be over on my channel. So my podcast or my YouTube channel, go and see it there. And then when it's Andy's choice, when he's hosting and introducing me to a film, that's when it's going to be on his channel. So just to be clear, the idea is you migrate, like the great birds of yonder, migrate from one YouTube channel to another YouTube channel. The video will be there. And also, I'm going to put it on as a podcast in a listenable form. If Andy wants to do that with his, he can do that as well. But just in case you are wondering where that next podcast or video is, it's because it's on the other person's channel. Again, there is a playlist, there is a link, all of the things are there. They're both available on YouTube, so go there if you want and you can follow the journey along with us. But I happen to use it as a podcast as well.
Yeah, there we go. We're flip-flopping. We're flip-flopping because it's in the title. We're sharing the silver screen, so we're sharing the endeavor across both platforms, multiple platforms, and we're sharing, you know, our love of cinema. So it makes sense to have it spread across each of our systems rather than, you know, being on one system or another, because that's what sharing's all about, boys and girls. You share and share alike. You can take my toy home one day, and I'll take home yours the other.
We share the failures, we share the successes, we share the love and the hatred in equal measure. But what will I think about this film? What will I think about this film? I'll leave that up to your imagination for the time being.
Yeah. But yes, so, like I said, I was very shocked that you hadn't seen this film. Duel, arguably a bloody, I don't know, grindhousey kind of movie from nowhere, midnight cinema kind of movie, and it's Steven Spielberg. Well, let's say the first Steven Spielberg's the most notorious sort of one for him, isn't it? Going back, it's what basically set the stage for everything else. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's written by the original short story it's based on is written by Richard Matheson, a kind of big sci-fi author. He wrote I Am Legend, or whatever the original title was, and he did a lot of Twilight Zone episodes. He wrote a lot of Twilight Zone episodes, and this is what this feels like to me. It feels like an extended Twilight episode. It was made for TV, and then they added some extra scenes to do it, to put it in the cinemas, because they were like, Jaws is really popular. Has this guy done anything else? Oh, yes. And we own it. Let's get it out there. Just shove it out there. Because it's only about 75 minutes, which makes sense with ads and stuff. But what was interesting as well before this is that Spielberg did like the opening kind of TV movie for the Night Gallery, which is Rod Serling's like other Twilight Zone anthology horror sci-fi kind of show. So it kind of makes sense. It's kind of, he's in that world already with Rod Serling and with Richard Matheson and that kind of, you know, he's directing those kind of segments. So it makes sense that this feels a bit like that to me. It is what it is. It's a duel between a sheepish, meek salesperson and a truck.
It's such a simple premise. I think I remember the very first time I watched this. I I vaguely remember it from being a lot younger than when I thought I first watched it. So I think it came back into my sort of conscious, I think, mid-teens, probably 15, 16, when I was literally gathering just as much filmic material as I could and just mashing it into my face. And again, I think it was around about the time that I was just big on Spielberg movies. So I think I'd watched, obviously, I think Saving Private Ryan had been out. I'd seen Schindler's List. I was just like, oh, all these films are great. I need as much Spielberg as I can get. So I'd watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind, all of this kind of stuff. And then this was there. And I think it got re-released on DVD around about that time. And I watched it and I went, I think I've seen this before. And it must have been on, one of the old terrestrial channels or something. I think I remember watching it with my nan, and I was always fascinated by the truck with no driver just hunting this person down, because it's such a simple premise. That's all it is. It's just being hunted by this truck right the way through the film for no reason other than he overtakes him a couple of times and the truck driver just doesn't like it and he just hunts him down. It's bizarre. And I think that's what, like you were saying with the Twilight Zone, films like this, where there is no rhyme or reason for the actions of the other party, there's just something really alluring about them. You're pulled in. You're like, what? Why is this happening? I think that's why this is such a great movie, because you're there for the ride. You want to know what's going on, why it's going on. You want this guy to get out of there, but then he's trapped in this hellscape, unable to get away from him. And I think it's great filmmaking for that, because there's this constant terror right the way through this film, and it's not terror in the face of jump scares or monsters or creatures. It's something so simplistic as a road rage incident that turns murderous for no reason whatsoever, and you're propelled along with it right the way through. I really love this film. I've seen it a few times since. I think it's been released on 4K now as well. I think I mentioned that to you a couple of weeks ago, but I've yet to pick it up there. But I'm looking forward to picking it back up again. I watched it last night, obviously, but that was on just standard DVD. I was like, no, I want it in pristine picture quality if I can.
I want that big rusty truck in my eyeballs. All of it.
Yeah, a big old rusty truck.
Big, dirty, rusty, horrible truck.
That's the thing about the truck. It looks like it shouldn't be able to run, and yet it's like a perpetual motion machine. It just won't stop coming. I think that's what's so great about it. Is it looks like it shouldn't be able to do the things it does, which against the Twilight kind of, its own kind of aspect, isn't it? Or like X-Files kind of aspect as well. And yet there it is. It's just causing absolute misery and carnage.
Carnage. Absolutely. Yeah. It is something out of like Twisted Metal or like, a Mad Max or things like that. And I like that the implication that there's something more to this truck, there's something more to this driver, than meets the eye. But we don't know. We never find out, and I'm glad we don't. I don't need that explained.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't need to know if he was one of the guys in the cafe. I don't need to know that. I kind of don't want to know that. And
it plays with that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's all these theories online on who's what and what means this, and why has he got multiple license plates, and all this other kind of, and again, it's great to think about and it's great to consider, but it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it doesn't. My theories, because there's never going to be an answer, and that's kind of the wonderful thing about it. It's like that original Halloween film. Why is Michael Myers doing what he's doing, and how does he know how to drive a car? Because he's the shape. He's not a man, but is he a man? But how can he take human form? All these kind of unanswered questions are some of the best things about that film, even though they do try and answer them with various sequels and other stuff going on. But yeah, I love the tension in it, and like you said, like. It's not like a horror film, like you said, like typical kind of jump scares. It's a palpable sense of dread, I think. And like this is something that could honestly, any day of your life, that this could happen. This could, at one point, somebody just flips a switch and they become unhinged, which is another road rage movie, um, and you know, just comes and you know, tries to run you off the road. You know, it could happen.
Mm.
You know, how many kind of videos have we seen just on like YouTube with kind of road rage incidents
Yeah.
and people just absolutely flipping their lid over seemingly nothing. You know, seemingly
Mm.
a minor thing. And like, I'm not a driver, so initially I was kind of looking out for something that he did because I was
Yeah.
thinking I assumed like I kind of was going because it felt a bit Twilight Zone-y. I thought there was going to be a moral or a lesson in there,
Yeah.
and the kind of is to a degree.
Mm.
But initially I was like, because I don't know driving, I thought he undertook him, and I thought that's what fucked him off. Like he
Yeah.
undertook him and caused. But again, I don't know driving, so I don't know when I'm undertaking somebody or overtaking them. So I was just like maybe that's why he's mad. But even he questions, is like, I've not done anything. I've not done anything.
Yeah.
But even I'm thinking maybe he's doing some like mental gymnastics or he's forgotten what he's done.
Yeah.
But no, he seemingly hasn't done anything, which is again the intentional vagueness is what I like about it.
Yeah.
And again, you only get a few glimpses of the truck driver, the dirty
Yeah,
arm.
we really
and-
see his arms and his hands,
Yeah.
don't you?
yeah, and he's waving
And
them.
boots.
He's waving them through. Yeah, the boots, the cowboy boots, and he's just waving his arms, just like, yeah, come on through. And that's when
Yeah.
the first time you see his arm is the first time where it's like, oh no, he is trying to kill him. He really
Yeah.
is trying to. He's not just fucking with him. He's really trying to kill him.
Yeah.
So yeah, fascinating. We could talk all day about the driver himself, and you know,
Yeah, because it's like you said, a lot of theories sort of perpetuate about what the driver, who the driver is, what he symbolizes, what his real motives are, what the meaning of it all is. But I don't know, because there's so many different ways you can go down. Because I think one of the original releases had so we'll jump to the end. Obviously, there are spoilers throughout this.
yes,
Because this film's been out for fucking decades, so get a grip. But like at the end of the film, I vaguely remember, and I don't know whether it's on. Is it on my DVD cut? I don't know. I don't think it is actually. I think there's like a cut where at the end of the film when the truck sort of goes over the edge of the cliff, where there's like a roar, and it almost like a beast dying kind of thing, like knowing that it's coming to an end. I'm not sure whether I've ever seen that, but I think it's been mentioned. So there's like an aspect of like a supernatural, element to it. But I don't know. It's so strange. Like I think it's good that there are different things that people pick out and try and think about and expand on. It's the type of movie where you're glad that this was a single entity and that nothing else came of it. I think there was sort of a pseudo sequel somewhere. I've never watched it, but there is mention of a pseudo sequel somewhere where it does try and do a bit more to it. But I've never sought it out. I've never been really interested in it. I'm guessing the look on your face, you've had a fucking look, haven't you?
I did. Well, strangely enough, Andy, the reason I wanted to watch this at some point was I bought a comic book called Road Rage. Because it was going. Basically, I was like, I just want a cheap comic I can just kind of throw away and just read. And it's called Road Rage, and I was reading into it. I was like, this looks interesting. And then it was written by Joe Hill and Stephen King, who Stephen King and his son Joe Hill. But it was based on the stories by Richard Matheson. So there was a collection of short stories put together, and they asked if Stephen King and Joe Hill wanted to write a pseudo sequel to Duel, and they called it Throttle. So this comic actually combines both of the stories. It's 4 issues. 2 focus on the Throttle and 2 focus on Duel. And Duel is basically, it's the story again. It's fine. I didn't particularly like the artwork in that one, but Throttle was interesting. It was about a group of bikers who a drug deal goes bad. They kill a young girl who's only 17. And then I'm going to spoil the story for you as well. And they are talking good. They're talking about it at like a truck stop, and the truck is there. A truck is there, and basically he follows them and runs these bikers off the road very violently. They all get like guts flying everywhere, their arms and skin are coming off. Really fucking brutally violent. And then it turns out that they. Unfortunately, in this one, they kind of humanize and give you a backstory to this particular trucker because he turns out to be the father of the girl they murdered. And like they didn't murder her nicely. The guy was on meth, and they cut her up into tiny pieces with a machete. And then the guy is riding with his son, and he learns this throughout, and he learns that he's also a soldier. They're both like ex-vets, like desert, storm vets or something. And yeah, it's kind of just ends again. This time the truck explodes in this version. And the guy climbs out. You see him. He's got a tattoo, which is like death before dishonor and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's a Laughlin truck. It says Laughlin, and their code is die pretty or no, it's live pretty or die laughing. I think their code is. And there's a moment where they splash kind of alcohol. That's it. He throws like a glass bottle at the truck, and instead of Laughlin, it says laugh. And that's basically the story. It's fine. It's not groundbreaking, or it takes away a lot of that mystery. But it's not. It doesn't imply that it's the same trucker. It doesn't say it's the same trucker. It's it's years apart. They're talking about like mobile phones and things, so it's clearly not long after. But yeah, I own that, and yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But I don't think I needed it really. But I thought today I'd watch it, and not only that, I watched this. I was going to watch it yesterday, but decided to watch it this morning instead. And then I watched The Car, which is about a demonic The Car from 1977, which again has a very similar like look to this.
Yeah.
The shots are very similar.
James
Brolin and Ronnie Cox, one of our favorite actors, in it, and basically, and again, instead of it being implied that it's demonic or anything, they're like, no, this is a demonic driverless car. And again, it's fun, it's cheesy and fun, but it's not. I wouldn't say it was as good as this, but and I also watched Joyride with Paul Walker and Steve Zahn, which has Ted Levine on like the CB radio, and they play a trick on him where they think he's going in to like shag this woman, and then he gets really mad and pulls a guy's jaw off, and then he starts menacing these guys in the truck, these brothers in the truck, which is again fun in its own right, but again probably not quite as good as this.
Yeah.
my speaking of films that this clearly influenced, I think my biggest issue with this film. Now, this is a me problem. This is very much a me problem. Because I avoid a lot of these actively avoid, but haven't seen a lot of these big budget, well-received, well-regarded, award-winning box office things. The problem is, I've seen a lot of imitators.
Yeah.
So I've seen The Hitcher. I have seen Maximum Overdrive, again, Stephen King. I have seen Christine, again, Stephen King, heavily influenced, clearly. All those other ones, like Breakdown as well, like all those kind of highway horror films. I've seen The Highwaymen, which is kind of a sequel somewhat to The Hitcher, made by the same people, about the same sort of thing. And I think if I hadn't seen The Hitcher, which I adore, if I'd seen Duel before this, I think my preference would be to Duel, but because I've seen The Hitcher, and again it has this kind of, is he supernatural? He seems to survive. He seems to get ahead of him and behind him all at once. How is this possible? But also it has, how much I love Rutger Hauer. He has that that face and that charm, and there's I don't know,
that unabiding charisma that you can't escape from.
Exactly, and I think that's my main issue. Again, the films are very different. Don't get me wrong; they're still quite similar, but they are quite different. They're very stylized, and they're both of their own eras. But again, I feel like The Hitcher for me was much more iconic, visually, character-wise. All this other stuff that's going on. And I think even Joyride has a bit of The Hitcher in there as well. And I think that's my issue is, and again, it's my own fault, it's my own problem. I do really like it, but I think because I've seen the imitators before, it was like when I saw Pretty in Pink. Like I saw Pretty in Pink and I was like, well, that was just a bit okay. As romantic comedies goes, John Hughes, this big deal. And my friend was like, yeah, but it was the first one to do all those things before all the other rom-coms did it. This is they say Zack Snyder is the template, he's the blueprint. Pretty in Pink was the blueprint for rom-coms, and this is the blueprint for highway horror or whatever you call it, kind of vehicular, whatever. back roads or anything like that. Messed up weirdos trying to find you and kill you. So I think that's mostly my issue with it. And again, I feel like it would have worked better again if they stuck to the 75 minutes to a degree. The stuff they add on, which I think is a lot of the kind of his conversation with his wife and stuff, do add a little bit of more context, where it's more like it's about his machismo or his masculinity being challenged and eroded. Because he's always shying away from these confrontations, like his wife's like, oh, I was basically raped, and I was like, yeah, I doubt you were, or he absolutely would have said something. I think people at the party would have said something. But she's kind of blowing it out of proportion, the whole situation, because he probably was coming on to her quite strong, whoever this guy was.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Again, he kind of gets over that because he finally confronts, the truck head on, doesn't he? He goes,
Yeah.
I've been avoiding this confrontation. I've been trying to get away and trying to escape. And the time where he goes, right, fuck you, I'm coming for you. That is when he resolves it. But then again, we get the ending where even though he does confront it, he does, get that machismo or masculinity back. There is that initial like, ha ha. Yeah. But then he's lost in the desert, abandoned, doesn't know what to feel, doesn't know how to feel. Again, it's kind of exploring a lot of that stuff kind of way before, you could probably eloquently talk about it, maybe. I'm not sure, but
because
there's definitely some elements.
Yeah, he's a fundamental failure, isn't he? And he's just trying to flee from all of his problems. I think the central character is a reflection on the times as well. Like, nobody wanted to come out and talk about their own self problems. It was obviously post Vietnam as well, weirdly enough. So there's all that going on in there. I think it's like you say, it's just somebody wrestling with responsibility, not quite being able to grasp what he needs to do, what he should be doing, fleeing, and then having no choice but to turn around and face his demons. And his demons present as this big, disgusting truck, this loud, rusty truck. And maybe that's some kind of imagery in of itself. Like he's forced to turn around in this weak, feeble, car that has no personality and no drive. Because it's a weak vehicle. It's a weak vehicle for a weak man who's been persecuted and chased by this big, brash, old technology that's somehow outdoing him, and he has no choice but to face up to it. But even then, like you say, he wins, but at the same time doesn't win, because it just fades to black and he's just left there. It's very strange. It's very interesting, the symbolism for for this man lost in this world, evading everything. I think, watching it last night, I was trying to sort of delve a little deeper into, what that all might mean. Like I was saying before, like all this symbolism and the meanings, and it's what you're saying there is very interesting indeed.
Yeah, and again, I think some people have talked about like, the problems of the time, and like you said, like post-war, and then post-war, I guess, as well. I think more European. I read on IMDb more European countries kind of noted those kind of things and those kind of messages. I did like that they kind of foreshadow the radiator hose or whatever it is going as well. I like that. A kind of another word you like to use, that hubris, like, oh fuck it, I'll pay for it later, I'll get it sorted, I'll and again, it is the thing where it's like, you really should be looking after yourself, your family, your thing, preparing for the worst. And if you'd done that, then you wouldn't be in a situation where he's about to get on top of you and you have to like put it in neutral and hope and just get over the hill so you can drive it. and then he hits it and it comes back to life. I don't know if how that. I don't know if that. I'm not I'm
No.
not a mechanic
Yeah.
myself, but he hits the car and he's like, oh, it's okay now. It's going
Yeah.
again. I'm like,
So
I'm not sure how that
you
works.
don't need the hose. What the fuck?
Yeah. maybe
Yeah.
that's he's got a guardian angel looking over him. If this is the
Yeah.
devil coming for him, maybe that's his little guardian angel got fixed it.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
fucking hubris motherfucker.
he got so much hubris. But yeah, it's very intense. I think it's shot really well. Like it's shot really.
It is.
Really
It is even from the opening sort of crawl, the opening credits, where we're at the front of this vehicle. And we're literally traveling from a nice, lovely suburb into the inner city, and then we slowly come out into the sprawling landscape. It's literally him being taken out of his comfort zone, isn't it? And then thrust into it. I really like those. I forgot about the opening sort of credit shots, to be quite honest.
I tell you what, I tell you what again, that kind of hammers home the whole masculinity thing is the radio show where they call into this.
Yeah, because it slowly degrades, doesn't it? Like you can tell how far away he's getting from the comfort zone. Everything's dead pleasant and talking about politics and the weather and all this kind of stuff, and then it slowly changes as he gets further and further away.
And the woman and the radio host is trying to convince. He's trying to be a bit like a troll, I guess, back in the 70s, where he's calling up this kind of live questionnaire thing, and he's going, I can't fill it out because I'm not the breadwinner of the family. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's kind of going, oh, I'm embarrassed, and I shouldn't say these things. The woman's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She's the breadwinner, so what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's embarrassing, and this and that and this. And again, it kind of puts you in that frame of mind of kind of maybe what they were feeling. Again, there's no war to fight. There's no thing that they need to do.
To come back and pick up a dead end job.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of stuff and have no choice.
Yeah, I have to say Dennis Weaver is phenomenal in this. Your eyes are really good. Your eyes are glued to him throughout the entire film. Like, and he's so convincing and it kind of, and you can see him kind of shift where he gets full of bravado, but then all of a sudden he's like anxiety ridden and panics. Like that scene in the cafe is great when he's looking at them all and he's trying to figure out, and he doesn't even eat a sandwich that he orders, and he's like, give me an aspirin and all this, and like the guy comes over and he's like, oh, you just got a bit of whiplash. No, he's trying to kill me. No, just a bit of whiplash there. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, back to the cafe, kind of thing. And he goes up to that guy because he's convinced because he recognizes the boots. It's the only time we see it at the start at the gas station is the boots, him walking out. And again, he always kind of just misses looking at him, always just ever so slightly. And he does get some opportunities where you're like, you could have just looked. But again, you get that in Joyride as well. I think in Joyride they're driving the same car, or I think it's a 1971 something, which is the year this came out. So I was like, it's a reference. It's a definite reference.
Well, like you're saying though, I think like a lot of subsequent horror movies do play with that as well. Like with you just see the feet, you just see the slight glimpse of them from the shadows. So the influences come from all over the place, don't they?
Absolutely. You can't move like I've already mentioned quite a few, but like even Mad Max to a degree owes something to Duel. Like, because if you watch any old exploitation films, they're all about fucking cars, man. They love cars. Yeah, like Mad Max, Chain Reaction, whatever Aussie film, there's always a car chase. Even if it's again a romantic comedy, there will be a car chase. I guarantee. They love wrecking shit. The cars that ate Paris is one that's quite a famous one, as well as Mad Max and other stuff. I think there's one called Crash, which is about like an Aztec idol, which brings all the cars to life, and there's all of this kind of. There's so many films that have a kind of dual exploitation, if you will. Like there's such, be it from the short story, be it from the film, be it from whatever, that influence has gone on. And again, that's my problem, is because I've seen all of the other iterations of the story, but this one, trucks being, possessed or alive, or cars being alive, or, a demonic driver you don't particularly see, there's and there's something to it. There's definitely the idea is clearly quite, it's quite again a powerful idea that sticks with you and concerns you and gets into your bones.
It's a very human thing, isn't it? It's a very, very human psychological thing. Because what would you do in that situation? I know you're not a driver yourself, but like, would you just stop? And what would you do? You keep driving. I mean, he keeps driving, and he tries to, get his way around things. He hides places. He pulls up one night next to a track and sleeps through the night, and yet the truck is still in the area waiting for him. He stops by a school bus to try and help the school bus, and then he becomes the weirdo. Yeah, he ends up becoming the weirdo who doesn't help the school bus, and then the truck helps them. It's so weird. It's such a bizarre sequence. It's almost like
I love that though, because it's like just as and there's that section where he sees a police car and he goes, if I can just swipe this police car or almost hit them, then it's going to convince them to chase me, and then they'll see the truck and they'll see what he's trying to do, or but it turns out it's just like it's like a roachmobile kind of thing. Like it's got like a little cockroach on the top, and I think I think it might be Spielberg's name backwards. I think as well on the thing. But I love that it's kind of playing with his mind and playing with people's perspectives, because nobody believes him. That's the thing.
No,
And like there was something on IMDb about being like bullied as a child, which kind of apparently fed into this, or Spielberg fed into this. Like you've got this person just kind of prodding you and manipulating things. Like I was bullied, and no matter how much I told people or said, oh, this person's done this, or oh my god, this has happened, and they'd be like, what are you on about? What are you talking about? And this person
don't see it in real time. Everything happens behind like in corners where nobody's watching, or
exactly like it's like an abuser who targets areas that won't show up if you like roll up a sleeve or anything like that. They're purposely physically targeting those areas so nobody's going to believe them, because nobody would punch someone just square in the chest or under the armpit or something. It's very manipulative and calculated, and that's why I like the bus scene, because again he's like, the guy's like, oh, just push it along, and the kids are kind of poking fun at him as well, and he's and you can see him just
franticness. The kids are like, who's this guy?
You're crazy, mister, all that. And the bus driver's like, what are you doing? Like, and he gets trapped under it and then starts panicking, and then he's trying to get the kids off the road. He's like, this maniac truck's going to get us. And the guy's like, you're not on the road, kids. It's fine. Don't listen to it. And they're like, you're crazy, you son of a bitch. Watch your language, all that sort of stuff. But I love that again, the truck, because he says, what truck? I never saw a truck come past. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like, the truck's there, it's real, and I think people are like, you're starting to question whether it's part. Again, it could be an hallucination. We don't really know.
Yeah.
It doesn't directly affect anybody else, really.
Apart from that lady and her animal displays.
Yes, that as well.
And the phone box. I fucking love that shot. I absolutely love that shot.
Amazing. I forgot about that one. Oh, that's good as well.
I get what you mean. It's the perception, isn't it? Ow, just bang my hand. I'm getting excited. It's perception. Weirdly enough, Natalie's just watched a Doctor Who episode. I'm not a huge fan of Doctor Who. It's the new Ncuti Gatwa. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And the Doctor disappears in this episode, and the companion, don't know her name, she can see some old woman in the distance. And it turns out it's like 73 yards away, weirdly enough. She's 73 yards away. She's doing some kind of weird sort of things with her hands, some weird gestures like this. And she tries to get close to this woman, and she can't get any closer. It's always 73 yards away. And people notice she's there, and she's there the entire time. And time progresses, and this old woman's there the entire time. People know she's there, but then they don't notice her, weirdly enough, until she sort of goes, that woman over there, and they go, oh yeah, her. So it's like the perception There's this old woman dressed all in black doing some weird gestures with a hand, but nobody notices her until they consciously directly look at her, and then they approach her and it all goes fucking weird. But it's the same. It's the thing with this, isn't it? Because the truck is bizarre to look at. It's all rusted. It's all decrepit. It literally is like something out of Mad Max, like you said. Reminds me, because I watched Fury Road and Furiosa. It reminds me of one of the war rigs, this big fucking hefty machine that sprouts, gas and noisy and loud, and yet it glides by on so many occasions and nobody pays any attention to it. Like you say, nobody cares because it's not doing anything directly to them. It's just going past. And it's the idea of the perception, isn't it? In his perception, it's the only thing he can fucking see at the moment. The central character is the only thing he can see. It's the only thing he's looking out for. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. He's not thinking about anything else. That's the only thing he can see. But everybody else is like, what are you on about? Just have a beer. That kind of thing.
Tunnel vision. Yeah.
I love that whole idea of the perception. Like you say, it plays into this. Like, oh, is he just fucking imagining it? Who is this guy? Like, in the bar. What are you on about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I love that.
It's great. There's so many levels to it. So many like fun,
I think that's why there's so many theories. Yeah. Sorry. I know that's why there's so many theories because it is such a well done film, considering it's so low budget. It was made for TV. It's really well crafted with things like that. It plays with so many different psychological elements that you do have no choice but to question it. But that thing with the phone box, God, it's such a great shot. And again, I'd forgotten about it. I was like, he's in the phone box, like, oh, I can't remember this bit, and it just comes around the corner. I was like, oh fucking hell! I'm not sure how they do it because it's plowing straight ahead at the phone box while he's in it at like full speed. Like, how did they shoot that?
I looked up the IMDb. Yeah, I looked up the IMDb. Apparently, they had flags, so there was like if he's this
marker so that he could drive faster.
So he would drive headlong into it, and then Dennis Weaver had an indication when he needed to get out.
Yeah,
but also the truck driver. The truck driver had an indication that if he isn't out by this point, swerve. That's apparently how they did it. You were mentioning the roar before. I looked that up as well, and you are right. It is in there. It was from like a dinosaur movie or something that Spielberg liked, but he uses it when Jaws dies as well. Same effect. Because they are quite similar. Let's be honest. Like a lot of
they are.
There is a lot of similarities. There is a kinship, let's say, between the two films. It's just the truck is replaced with a shark, and again, it's not necessarily Brody, but it's the swimmers. It's coming for all the swimmers, and and again, there's a bit more to Jaws than just a chase sequence. But this is what George Miller wanted to do with Fury Road, wasn't it? He was like, I want to just do a film that is almost entirely one just long chase sequence. And I think Spielberg succeeds here. I think I'd much rather watch Fury Road personally, but given the budget, the time, the constraints, the money, it's a TV movie, so then he's not given a lot of he's not given a lot of leeway.
Considering the Hallmark shit we get, that kind of stuff, it's legendary in that regard, isn't it? When you consider it's just a TV movie.
It's like when you look at like El Mariachi by Robert Rodriguez, you're like,
you
know what? Yeah, it's not. Is it great? Maybe not, but it's impressive that he.
I will say with El Mariachi, I've never been able to watch it without having the director's commentary on, because I think the director's commentary actually adds more to the film, because he basically talks you through all this. He goes, all these extras here, they're all the same people that we had killed earlier on in the film because we didn't have any money. And you're like, well, fucking hell, I never noticed that. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't take anything away from the film.
No.
It enhances it. So, I feel like these kind of films, I think they're gone from filmmaking.
Yeah.
These days, I think you do get low budget movies, But I don't think you get anything as honest or as clever as things like this or as El Mariachi anymore. I do think it's gone. And we were talking before we started about box office and diminishing returns and everything. There needs to be some kind of shift again, doesn't there? There needs to be something that revitalizes cinema, because nothing seems to be working. And I wonder, honest, simple filmmaking like this, would it change something? I don't know. It's a question for another time. But I find it,
definitely,
like I said, the alluring nature, the simplicity, and simplicity sometimes is everything in a film. Like, you don't need to have big budget special effects. You don't need to have, the greatest story ever told. I mean, writing is important. The writing, and this is superb, because when I'm talking about writing, I'm talking like how it's constructed, not necessarily dialogue. I mean, how they've written each and every singular moment, and how it plays into the narrative, and how that thrusts the film forward. Because this is perfect in terms of how you imagine it written on the script. You can see the ebbs and the flows, and how they would get to where Dennis Weaver is, he's consumed by absolute fear, and then becomes this road warrior himself. Weirdly enough, towards the end of the film, he does some things that he probably wouldn't have thought he'd ever do. That character leading out the car, I'm gonna drag it this way, and spin it, set it on. All this kind of stuff is weird.
Yeah. And he's like, he puts the book. I think it might be the Bible. I can't remember, but I think he puts a book in the accelerator. He's leaning out, and it's like, oh, is he going to do it? And I think that's probably him at the end, like reconciling these two sides of himself. Is the one that is confrontational, and the one that could potentially kill, because he again, his wife is challenging him to be more aggressive, be more hands-on, be more quote unquote masculine, whatever that means anymore. It's not for me to decide, but that's what it was supposedly in the 70s. It would be beating up or challenging a man who's trying to crack onto your wife. And he's gone, well, no, it's not. I shouldn't do that. It's not a good example. It's it's dangerous. It's if I died. He's thinking as a family man, as a father, as a a provider. If he was to confront that, and again, that's the same problem he's having with the truck. Is if I do confront him, if I get out of the car, like he says, if I get out, or if I stay out, if I, I'll be vulnerable. Even though this thing is not fucking moving and it's not working, if I get out of the car, what could happen then? What's potentially worse? Because I've got no defense, really. I've got this metal shell, this armored shell around me that kind of can take a bit of bashing, and and it must be in good nick, that car, because it goes through the ringer.
It absolutely does.
It's like, it must be absolutely does. And it's quite. I don't know if it's the same. Is it the same car from like Evil Dead? Is it that kind of car? Or is it a different kind of car?
It does different? Look similar. I've never really looked into that. To be there.
Yeah.
I would imagine it, yeah.
I mean, they look similar. I don't know cars. I don't know models of cars.
It's just a typical suburban-ite car, isn't it?
Yeah.
When everybody's driving it, it's nice, it's simple. It gets you from point A to point B. In this film, like you say, it gets destroyed, like back to front.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's so unique. Like you said, there's not many films that are made like this, or that are telling this kind of story, or this intelligently and intellectually. And again, it's affecting him. It's affecting his, like when he goes to the snake charmer woman, he's like, "Look at my snakes! Look at my snakes!" I was looking up the IMDb, and I said to Andy, "Oh, you bastard! You've reminded me of 1941 again."
Why does that film keep coming up?
It just keeps cropping up. Like every time Spielberg comes in, it's always like, oh fuck, because the same woman is in 1941. I think she's in another film of Spielberg's as well, and I was just like, fucking hell, I remember that
film
scene.
Spielberg tried to bury.
So yeah, in 1941, instead of the truck, it's John Belushi in his plane causing all the chaos. which is not as interesting or terrifying.
It's not as funny as you think.
Here's another interesting fact as well. Speaking of how it was shot, they used a car, like a camera car from the film Bullet, which I think was 1968, I want to say. And again, some of the best car chases in any film. I do recommend it. I definitely need to rewatch Bullet. Have you seen Bullet?
I have seen Bullet, yeah.
It's not one. Not one for this one. Yeah, not one for this channel. We can't share. I can't share that with you.
No, you can't.
But it is excellent. So much so, and again, Spielberg's clearly a fan of it as well because he's remaking it, isn't he? So, yeah. So and hopefully he uses some of the car chase kind of techniques in this. I'm guessing. Hopefully.
Yes.
Or we get maybe. Hopefully we get a. Hopefully we get maybe a Raiders sequence, maybe a new kind of Raiders truck sequence kind of thing. That'd be great.
Right.
I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. And again, I think he's one of these people. It's like it's not a remake. It's a reimagining. It's a restructuring. I'm like, it's fucking call it whatever you want. Call it whatever.
Disney restructures when they move things in the theme parks. It's a reimaginings when you paint your living room a different color. It's a fucking remake. All right.
Call it what it is.
He's remaking it. Like the Crow remake, it's a remake. It's not reimagining.
It's a remake, yeah. It's whatever. But hopefully it will be good, and hopefully they won't cast Chris Pratt as Bullet, maybe, because he's in it. He's in everything at the moment.
Yeah, I'm done with him in everything at the minute. Why are you both Mario and Garfield? What kind of universe is this?
And again, it's not like he's done much with his voice either. It's like. It's just Chris Pratt's voice.
I was listening to the trailer of Garfield, and I was like, wait a minute. I put on the trailer for Mario and went, it's exactly the same. It's the same. You know, Ryan Reynolds' studio is called Maximum Effort. This is zero effort. This is like nothing.
Minimum effort.
Yeah. Minimum effort required.
Minimum. But yeah, I'm just trying to think what else I can mention, because that's the thing, is it is kind of it's low on dialogue, it's low on plot, so I guess there's not that much you can really say about it. But
no, the premise is literally what it is, isn't it?
Guy chased by truck. That's it.
Across the deserts.
Across the deserts
of America.
And again, I think it does work, and I like the. Oh no, sorry, I'm confusing that with a car. I'm confusing that. So yeah, I've watched them. I should have watched them back to back. I'm now confusing the two of them. But no, we were saying that the credits. Like I watched Beneath the Planet of the Apes quite recently, which I actually quite enjoyed. I know some people. It's a film, definitely a film of two halves, but that second half is so it's so gonzo, it's so insane that I kind of appreciated it. And it absolutely, like, I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the film.
It's been out for like 40 years.
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm trying to avoid spoilers when I can, but basically it ends quite dramatically, quite abruptly. And there is no music playing afterwards, and it's a bit like this. It's kind of like, fuck, like fuck, like how did that happen? How could that actually just like left kind of like with your own thoughts? And again, no music. It's just credits roll, no theme music, nothing. Just like think about that. You sit and think about that, which I kind of appreciate.
The theater and ponder that shit.
Yeah, because it's quite bold, and like obviously, Planet of the Apes has a lot of political, social commentary in every version, in every single iteration,
Tim Burton,
including Tim Burton. Yes, like it or loathe it, including Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable in that franchise, much like something like the X-Men. It's absolutely unavoidable. You have to talk about those kind of things. But I again, it's like that for me is really ballsy. Like they've gone right. This is a fucking ending. This is it. You don't get any epilogue. You don't get any other resolution. The resolution is, again, it's fucking over. This is it. Truck destroyed, guy dead, seemingly. It's over. That's it. And he sits there, you know. And again, the same with the Planet of the Apes film. It goes bish bash bosh, end, no more. All said and done, end of. You know, and I appreciate that. There's no like post credit shit or like teasing
cliffhanger nonsense.
And again, weirdly, in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, you're introduced to a new astronaut who not only looks exactly like Charlton Heston, but sounds like him as well. And they're like busy mates from back in, and they followed his trajectory to go through the time portal or whatever the fuck, or the anomaly or whatever they call it in that film. And they meet, and you go, okay, well, Charlton Heston's going to die, and this guy's going to take over, and it's going to continue the franchise. It's going to go on. That absolutely does not happen in spectacular fashion. Again, not spoiling, but fucking hell, like, and that took ball, because that's literally, I was like, no, it's gonna, you know, that this is it. They're retreading again. The first half of that film, they're retreading the same ground from the first film. The realization, it's run by apes. The realization it's actually Earth and what we did to the Earth as humans, you know, and how far it's come ahead in time, and with apes ruling and what they're going through and the political unrest there. And then that second half is like, yeah, whatever. It's crazy. It's mad.
Like they discovered acid halfway through. Let's go, fuck it. Let's do something else.
Do you want mutants? Yep. Do you want an atomic bomb? Yep. Do you want the mutants to worship the atomic bomb? Yep. Sure.
You got it.
You got it. Psychic mutants underground. They've always been here. They wear masks for some reason.
Credit card. You got it.
But again, you know, I love my weird shit, and that film is full of weird shit. And it was brilliant.
They all are fucking hell. They get even more fucking bizarre.
But again, with that, like I've heard that they get. I've seen the original. I've seen the Tim Burton one. I've seen the Caesar trilogy, I guess they call it. And you know, I don't remember the Caesar trilogy all that well, apart from the first one. But I think I'm gonna rewatch them. But there's, you know, I like that each one is seemingly very different from the last one. Like they go, okay, well, here's a new idea, a fresh spin on this franchise, but in a new idea, with a new idea, a new thing. You know, I know in one they travel to the past to save themselves, and then there's another one where it is about the rise of Caesar, and there's a different one about something else. But that's where films go wrong now. They don't. They're not risking anything. They just go, let's just do the same shit, but just a little bit different, tiny bit different. I'd rather them take massive swings, massive risks, because that's bold. That's interesting. You know. That's why I like The Last Jedi. A lot of people don't like The Last Jedi, but it took some fucking bold swings, and I respect that. And that's kind of why I like that. I know. Not everybody's a fan of that film, but I thought out of the three, it was the least safe and also the most enjoyable for me. But again, I can understand people's issues with that film. But for me, I was like, no. Again, Rise of Skywalker was mostly just a retcon of Last Jedi. The first hour or half an hour is just going, oh, you remember those things you didn't like in the last one? Don't worry about them. They never happened. It was a lie. They didn't exist. Palpatine's back. Yay! You know,
somehow he returned.
And then my issue with The Force Awakens is it's a retread. It's like, speaking of Planet of the Apes retreads, it's an absolute retread, and I get why you would want to go back to that after the unfamiliarity of the prequels. I get it, but also I'm like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Oh, and then there's a pilot who's a bit of a rogue. There's some plans for a super machine in R2D2, and another droid. And again,
where's the murderous truck? Come on.
Pedal to the metal. Got a rig. Gonna jackknife the shit out of it. Oh yeah, great. Just give me a murderous truck any day. That's what they need. I mean, like, that's what Aliens was, wasn't it? It was like truckers in space, you know, and and you know, murderous truckers in space. You know, I'll be all right. I'll vote for that. Yeah, I have to say, Andy, like big surprise. I like this one. I don't think I like it as much as The Hitcher. I think that's something, you
Yeah,
know, again heavily relies on this and where this is coming from, and the atmosphere, the vibe, the vaguely supernatural element of the stalker involved and stuff. But I think it's very, very good. Maybe not great, but very, very, very good.
yeah, good. It pleases me because, like I said, I was very surprised that this was on your list. Because again,
Not anymore.
it's not really a film that is out there, is it? It's still not widely regarded in any sort of measure at all. As from what I was looking at, I mean, like I said, it has been given a 4K release, but there was no grandiosity to it. There was no, you know, big anniversary edition or anything like that. It is, I think, it lives on purely on the basis that it's Spielberg's first movie. But
Well,
yeah,
like Carpenter did some TV movies. He did like TV slasher movies
yeah,
before he did Halloween, but they're not regarded. Nobody looks at them. Nobody remembers those
no,
because they're kind of almost like, oh well, he was trying. He was just trying.
yeah,
You know, it's not what he was gonna do. You know, it's you know, and that's, you know, it's interesting to see where, like, that's why I do the, you know, the wrong direction stuff, because it's interesting to see when these directors take, you know, a different stab at something, you know, a different genre, or a different film, or a different topic, and to see why that didn't work or why there was a problem with that, you know. And yeah, but I'm with you. I think that's the thing, is that if you put this next to Jaws, people are going to watch Jaws, aren't they?
yeah. Because, like you said, it's the same thing. Like, it's something that shouldn't be acting irrationally is acting irrationally. Excuse me. And that's like I said, the alluring part of it. It's what's made Jaws so terrifying and so, you know, constantly. It's a constant feature. It's a pinnacle of culture. You know, a shark behaving in this way. It's bizarre. It shouldn't be doing that. It doesn't make any sense. It's doing that. Why is it doing that? But nobody really asks. Nobody really questions that, because it's ultimately terrifying, the idea of something acting completely out of character in a way. So yeah.
I think if this was in place of Jaws, then we'd have a lot of like truck exploitation films instead of Jaws exploitation films, you know. And it could have done maybe if it was slightly different, or maybe added a little bit more to it, maybe, and, you know, extended the runtime or the character stuff, or, you know, explored him a bit more, then yeah, maybe you could have had something on par with Jaws. But I think given the choice, most people we'll talk about Jaws, or they'll go, you know, they'd rather go, oh well, why would I watch the truck when I could watch the shark, you know? And I wanted to say is this: what, like, the way the truck moves is like, it's almost like he's snaking through the desert highway, like a venomous, like, viper, a rattlesnake, as we see in the film. Like, I love that kind of. There's, you know, like when you watch The Thing and the dog is like one of the best actors in it.
Yeah.
And you've got like Keith David there, and Kurt Russell be like, that fucking dog, man, give him an award, you know. And I feel like it's the same. I feel like it's the same with this truck. And I think on the IMDb it said that the truck driver asked, you know, what's my motivation? What's the truck's motivation? And I think Spielberg said, you're a rat-faced, no account piece of shit, you know, horrible guy. And he was like, you've hired the right man. something along those lines, like, a dirty, rotten bastard with no qualms or something. And yeah, absolutely, like that, the guy, the stunt driver. And again, I think all credit to the driving and the stunt driving in this. Again, you know, the stunt people are not heralded really as much as they should be. So I have to, if that's my final point on this film, the stunt driving is superb. The camera work, the cinematography of capturing that is superb as well. So awesome quality filmmaking there. Like, if you're not going to watch the whole thing, just watch some of the chase sequences. Absolutely,
absolutely.
mind blowing. The skill involved in all of that, and it was shot only in 12 days, I think, something like that.
Yeah, something really, really drastic and
That's
short,
insane.
wasn't it? I couldn't kind of get my head around that, to be quite honest with you. I really can't. Yeah, but there you go. It's just the honest craft of everybody fully invested in doing what they're doing on a simple scale. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for?
Sometimes simplicity is good. You know, sometimes you don't need so many different subplots and characters and all this. Sometimes you just need a straight story, A to B plot. And this nails it on every level. Again, would I liked a bit more character stuff? Would I have liked a bit more kind of sure, but again, given the budget, the runtime, you know, they literally like, you know, put it back into theaters because it was so successful, and they thought, oh, we've got something here. We'll add, you know, it wasn't as successful as Jaws, but you know, that's it.
Yeah.
But you know, it was never going to be. But you know, the quality of the filmmaking is there.
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely. Well, I think we've said all we can really say about Duel, haven't we?
Yeah,
a great film.
Yeah,
great
yeah,
film.
Really good, really good. Again, unfortunately, I've been spoilt by the people that have come after.
Yeah, and I think that's the nature of the beast. I think with a lot of movies on your list, I think it'll be the same with a lot of movies that you put towards me. I think as well. It'll be, you know, like we have to take them at the value of what they are.
Absolutely.
Historically,
this is very important. You know, there's a lot of films I've watched. You know, like Friday the 13th, the first one, I think is mostly dog shit, but it led to a huge franchise, and then they are, for the most part, dog shit as well in their own right. Even though I have a soft spot for them, they're all kind of you know, shades of shit. You know, they're iconic in their own way and made a lot of money. So, but yeah, no, I absolutely I understand. You know, even though I don't, you know, it's not going to be on a top 10 favorite list of all time for me.
No,
I think it's very important in Spielberg's career. It's very important in cinema. It's very important in bloody prose novels. If you look at Stephen King, he's, you know, written this comic, Christine, Maximum Overdrive. I think they remade Maximum Overdrive again as Trucks. So clearly there's an audience out there for these kind of stories, you know, of these kind of dodgy people on back roads trying to run you down. So yeah, absolutely, kind of understand its place there, its quality. But again, like I think it's just me and when I've come to this film.
Yeah.
Again, I still think it's very, 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 very good. But again, I think if I hadn't seen The Hitcher and just gone, oh well, it's a Hitcher, but you don't see the Hitcher, kind of thing, basically. But again, I like that aspect. I like that you don't see him. I like that you don't know he's this unknowable being, because that kind of adds to the fact that you can't understand him. Like you can't even grasp why would he help the kids in the bus? Why would he do that? He's a killer. He's trying to kill me. You know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of wonderful in its own right. But yeah, absolutely, another great choice from you, Andy. Glad I finally got around to seeing it, and appreciate it for what it is historically, for Spielberg, and for films in general.
Lovely. I've got nothing to add to that. I agree completely. So yeah, I think we'll leave that one there. So go ahead, Dan. I'm assuming you've planned the next endeavor. So
I am. I'm getting slightly less weird as we go on. So this is my plan. I'm going to get slightly less weird. So I don't
believe you.
So we've had Tokyo Gore Police. We've had Frankenhooker.
We have.
Now, speaking of a man going a bit mad and being driven mad by a pursuer, a demonic kind of, you know, force of fear and frustration and you know, aggression and, you know, and all the anxieties that come with, you know, living in the rat race of you know, the 80s kind of yuppies and
Have
all
you got
this.
my memoirs? What's going on?
You're living out your memoirs, you know. And again, you know, being in a family, keeping your home in place, and you know, all make sure nothing's falling apart. It's a hard life. It can get very frustrating, very aggravating, very annoying, and especially when you have pests in the house. So pests, be it bugs or vermin or what have you. So I want to look at, again, much like, very similar to this film, but we're going to replace the truck with a very large rat. So I want to look at Of Unknown Origin, which stars Peter Weller of RoboCop.
Right. Okay.
As a young businessman, and his house that he built himself is being ransacked by a very large rat, and it sends him fucking crazy.
I love it. I love the sound of it.
From
Brilliant.
the director of Cobra, Stallone's Cobra. I think it's.
Right,
I want to say.
okay.
I want to say George Cosmatos. I think his name is.
Interesting.
It's going to be a wild ride, Andy. It's going to be weird. It's going to be wacky.
It sounds like it.
Get your rat traps ready, because you're
like
going to
Home
need
Alone, but with monsters. Brilliant. Okay.
Just a large, not a giant rat, maybe a super rat, just a large rat. So not
a large rat.
There's just a large.
I mean, I've seen Mouse Hunt with Nathan Lane and Lee Evans.
You're ready for this?
I've seen a mouse cause havoc.
It's yeah, it was marketed very oddly, like it was a haunted house film. But
Really?
to be honest, just wait till you see it. I don't know how you would have marketed the film anyway, personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, I'm questioning that already. A man versus rat in a house. Peter Weller, RoboCop.
Oh, it's gonna
origin.
I can't wait to hear what you think of this. But it is. There is some kinship. There's definitely some kinship for this one. And again, this wasn't planned. I didn't know you were going to go for Duel, because this was my next one anyway. So it's kind of worked out. It's kind of about the pressures of you know, on a man, and how it affects him mentally.
Just a fucking rat. Just fucking annoying, cheesy.
You're a fucking rat.
You rat fuck.
You dirty rat fuck.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so
intrigued.
Of Unknown Origin, I think it's 1983, if anybody wants to look it up. But that is going to be on my YouTube channel, on my podcast. So don't come back here. Don't come back to Andy's channel, because you won't find it there. It's over on mine. So and then vice versa.
Fun, you won't find it, eh?
No.
Yes. So
well, hold on. You will find fun on my YouTube channel, on my podcast. Not that I use many videos, but you will find some fun on there.
Oh, of course you will. Well, I was quoting something. I don't know what I was quoting.
You won't find fun there.
Yeah, I can't remember what. God,
there are no exits that way, Wolverine.
You think your future lies with them? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yes. This one, obviously, if you've made it this far into the video, quite obviously you're aware that it's on my channel. But Of Unknown Origin will be on Mr. Spider Dan's channels, Spider Dan's Secret Balls podcast, and his YouTube channel as well. And all those links will be down below. So there's no excuse, no room for confusion, unless you've checked out an hour and 5 minutes ago. So it will all be there. It will all be there. And the playlist will be down below, as well as a shared playlist between all of us. So it will be there. If in doubt, search for his channel, search for my channel. It makes sense. This is how we do it. One on one, one on the other. That's how it rolls. So
subscribe to both, and then you can't miss them.
Exactly, because then they'll just pop up. Job done then.
Hit the like button. See, I'm like a YouTuber. I'm like a YouTuber now. I know all the things.
That's what we want. Get us up.
Subscribe. Comment as well. Say how much you love this movie.
Yeah.
Or tell me how much I'm wrong for liking Hitcher over it. Do it.
Yeah. Tell us to get fucked. Whatever you want. I'll take any. I'll take any dislikes. I'll have them all, because it still bumps up the old metas. So go for it.
Algorithms.
Well, Mr. Spider Dan, regale the viewers with your own endeavours over the
Mm.
next few weeks?
Well, I am taking a little time off in June to prepare
Right,
for
well, that's that
Alien
done then.
Month. Yeah, so fuck that. Fuck all of June. That's nothing new. But I am finishing off my Forbidden Worlds Film Festival. So May has been... In May, you're going to get 6 podcasts. Record. 6 podcasts publicly about 2023, the last 2 days of 2023 Forbidden Worlds, and then all 4 days of this year with interviews and my thoughts on the films and the event itself, all the wonderful people involved. I was on the press team. So yeah, you've got all of that good stuff. And then, earlier in the year, we've had all sorts. So yeah, go and have a good root. Over 200 episodes now, official public ones. So go and have those. And if you want, join Patreon. You can get even more.
Lovely, absolutely lovely. Yes, definitely tune into those. It's fascinating. I enjoy when you're at these little festivals. They really do sync well with me. It's like listening to pure joy. Delightful.
Well, luckily they're good events, so I can say I can say with pure joy that I'm enjoying them. So yeah, no, absolute blast. I think Mike of Genuine Chit Chat has said he's going to join me next year, possibly. So we'll see how.
Maybe I
goes.
will.
Oh, yeah. You can get single screening tickets. You can get day tickets. All good.
Yeah. It's been a while, really, since I've done anything like that, to be honest. But yes, I mean, for myself, I've been watching quite a few bits and pieces. So, yeah, I watched Atlas, Jennifer Lopez's film on Netflix.
Showing your hand a little early, I think.
Show my hand, showing this gun to my head. And then, yes, I watched Furiosa, as I said before. So we've got a couple of reviews coming for them. Trying to stream weekly on a bit of Call of Duty. It's not to everyone's taste. Has some departees from the channel, which is fair enough. But again, it matters not. We're just here to do what we love, aren't we?
I lost one of my patrons the other week, so don't worry about it. Don't worry. It happens. It happens. People have a lot of people have things. People got stuff to do. But it's not for everybody. What we do isn't for everybody. What I do isn't for everybody, or neither you, and that's fine.
No. Exactly. Totally okay. So we're just here to enjoy ourselves, aren't we? And that's the thing. It's all about enjoyment, and that's what we want. We just want to spread the joy. So please do comment, please do like, please do share, get involved, and then who else? Who knows what happens going forward? We'll have to see, won't we? It's all just one big ride along the Fury Road or along the deserts of the Mojave, being chased by giant trucks. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that, I think. Dan, thank you very much.
The Deserts of Duel.
The Deserts of Duel. Oh, it's the sequel, isn't it? Oh, the Deserts of Duel.
The Dunes of Duel.
It would be like Dune, wouldn't it? Like all the different sequels utilizing.
It's the Lisan Al Gaib. He can outrun a truck.
Yeah. It's the Messiah of Duel. Oh.
You challenge your own masculinity, the Lisan Al Gaib.
Yeah. Drink the water of the Mojave Desert. Stop the truck. But there you go. Yes. So, like I said, Dan, thank you very much for joining on this particular one. I'm looking forward to Peter Weller versus a rat. Sure.
What's not to love? What's not to love?
Exactly. What's not to love?
We'll find out if you love it.
I'm sure I will. I'll make sure I've got plenty of cans of ale just to get through it, just in case.
I've got a personal story why I watched it as well, which I'll reveal when we do it.
I've got a feeling I know exactly what that means. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Fantastic. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.